Today we're kicking off Season 2 on the First Three Knocks with a three-part series on what is Masonry.
You're listening to the First Three Knocks, a Masonic podcast in the District of York, where we discuss topics for the betterment of Masonry. The opinions discussed in this podcast are those of the individual and do not represent the views of Grand Lodge or any other Masonic body. Now, here are your hosts.
Well, good evening, brethren. We are here in Uxbridge, Ontario at the Coach House. Masonic Coach House, of course. Brother Steve Sprott has set us up nicely, as always. I am your co-host, Worshipful Brother Burt from the Rising Sun Lodge, sitting down with Brother Gino, also of the Rising Sun Lodge, and our producer, Steve Sprott from Zaradatha Lodge in Uxbridge. And today we are starting Season 2 on the First Three Knocks. Are you excited?
I am. Nice to see you guys again, and we are back, ready to go and ready to roll. What an exciting first season we had.
We had an exciting first season, and we're just picking up steam, I think. You know, we've got a lot of great items on the agenda coming up that we'll be happy to share with everybody. And we're kicking off Season 2 with a topic that makes a ton of sense, really, is what is Freemasonry? You know, for those folks out there who are listening and curious, this is really to give you an overview of what to expect. So we have a three-part series we're starting today, talking about what is Freemasonry, how to become one, and what to expect. So we'll be discussing that in detail.
Well, let's jump in. Let's jump in with both feet here. It's exciting. It's exciting times right now. As I said, we got a lot of great feedback from Season 1, a lot of good traction, a lot of great guys lined up for Season 2 to come. So I'm excited to be talking about this topic. I think we touched base on it a little bit in Season 1, but we really have had a pepper of questions coming our way. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a really good topic to start the season with. So fantastic. Let's get her done.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's sort of exciting new Masonic year as well. We have a new Grand Master, Most Worshipful Brother David J. Cameron, who took the reins back in July at the Royal York Hotel at the annual communication of Grand Lodge. We talked about how great of an event that was. And we're actually on the Grand Lodge website going through the overview of what is Freemasonry. Maybe, Gino, what we can do is just kind of read through and share our perspectives on what that means for us.
Hey, I'm a big fan of not reinventing the wheel, and it's already designed for us here. And it really touches on what Freemasonry is and what it's about. So, one of the first things when you get up to Grand Lodge, and it's grandlodge.on.ca if the public want to go and take a look at that. It's on the first page. You can't miss it. You'll see our new Worshipful Master, our Most Worshipful Master, and just below that, it gets into what it's all about and our purpose. And really, the ultimate goal here is making good men better men. Mm-hmm. It talks about Freemasonry being the oldest and largest fraternal organization in the world. Members share common goals of helping each other become better men, and it's a body of knowledge and systems of ethics. It's based on beliefs that each man has a responsibility to improve himself while being devoted to his family, faith, country, and fraternity. And right there,
there's a lot.
That's a huge first paragraph, first statement.
Yeah, I think a couple of things that come to mind for me there is just the it being the oldest and largest fraternal organization, well over 300 years old. It's rooted in, of course, all the way back to some Egyptian philosophies and many other philosophies from the past, which I think is really impressive when you think of in today's day and age that these philosophies have come forward after all these years. It's really, really impressive.
And still have some real solid meaning of your everyday life.
Yeah.
And to talk about the largest fraternity that still exists, just scrolling down a little bit further, and it's 3.2 million Masons across the world and approximately 40,000 in Ontario alone. And so again, it really speaks volumes of the size of this fraternity, the global aspect of we're across every continent. And again, at Grand Lodge, we got to see a pretty great panel up at the front representing every province and parts of the states and parts of other places in the world. So it was just fantastic.
Yeah, the one part I really like in here that resonates with me is based on the belief that each man has a responsibility to improve himself. I couldn't think of a better way to describe Freemasonry. The responsibility to improve yourself. That's really what it's all about. And Freemasonry gives the tools and insights and connection to the people who understand what that truly means. Often there's a lot of work out there around personal leadership, self-development, that type of thing. And for my best estimate, the Freemasonry can't be beat.
No.
You know, the impact that it has personally, and of course every experience is very personal in Freemasonry. I think it's important for the listeners to understand that Gino, your experience would be very different than the experience that I have, than the experience that Steve would have as well. But the way that it connects dots for you is truly amazing. It's almost unexplainable, and I think that's almost the point. It is unexplainable. You need to experience it.
Well, absolutely. And again, you know, like I've in my short journey thus far, I've had a lot of those aha moments, and those aha moments I have might not be the same moments you've had, or like you said, Steve has had. But the ultimate tie-in is there's lots of them there. And they really are to help improve you in your family, in your faith, in your country, in this fraternity. You know, we do a lot of community stuff from our lodge alone, and it's just so nice and rewarding when we are doing a street sale, and through our friends that are the Shriners, who are all Masons. You know, you get to see some kids every once in a while say, "Hey, I know that hat."
It's recognizable.
We went to the Shriners Hospital and got some help, and again, these are brothers, these are Masons, these are other bodies of Masons. You know, just getting out there and seeing those things, that's, to me, it just fills my heart with joy, and really brings me some positive side of this tough world we live in these days. And that's, like you said, it's a great point too. It's our perspective. It doesn't mean that it is the same for everybody. To some it works and it's wonderful, and to some it doesn't. And that's part of Masonry.
Well, it's kind of the beauty of the system, isn't it? It offers something different for everyone. And Steve was mentioning earlier before we went on the show that it has something different for everybody, whether that's the historical aspect, the esoteric meanings, the ritual work, the memory work, the fraternal connection with like-minded people. It has all of that. And I think everybody finds kind of their sweet spot of what they're truly interested in. And mostly, from what I've seen, a lot of people discover things they didn't know about themselves that they might be interested in and didn't have access to.
Yeah. And we had a guest last season that also talked about exactly that, as men trying to find an outlet to have some commonality amongst men. And that's what the fundamentals of it is all about: brotherly love, charity, and truth. Yeah. You know, and again, I think some of us yearn that social aspect, but we just don't know where to go and how to get it, especially as we've grown older in our lives. And it's tougher, you know. Maybe when you were younger, you had scouts or what are they called? Sports, or different outlets. And many of us who have done that over our youth have really solidified some fantastic relationships. And today, you know, as a full adult with a couple kids, we're friends with those friends we made, and they're extensions of our family. Mm-hmm. And this just gives us another aspect to kind of grow our family of brothers.
That's one of the things that led me to Masonry as well. I mean, I work a 9-to-5 job. I sit at a desk. I'm staring at a screen all day. I go out with my friends for a beer, and half of them are sitting on their phones, looking at their phones. And becoming a Mason and going to lodge, you know, that one time a month or however, you know, many times you want to go, whether you're traveling to different lodges, it allows you to put that technology away in such a fast-paced, busy world and really interact with people, like-minded people. You know, someone else has said it before, but I think for me, I've broken down Masonry into 3 different parts. I think it's there's a charitable aspect, there's the brotherly camaraderie aspect, and then there's a spiritual aspect. And not to say that you need all three of those things, but what stands out to you? Is it the spiritual side of things? Is it the charitable aspect? And maybe though each one of those boxes isn't ticked for you, but maybe two of them are. And you can find your kind of outlet within Masonry, which direction you want to go. And
it's like one of those pieces is the missing piece that we all are yearning, and that's where there isn't that other outlet that you could find within Masonry to find that missing piece. Again, in one of our episodes, we talked about the spiritual side. I don't go to church every Sunday or whatnot. I probably should. However, Masonry kind of gives me that extra little piece. And through some of the rituals and such, that's how we're taught, and that's how we grow.
Well, to build on your point and yours as well, Steve, I think it actually forces you to put yourself in a position to think that way.
Yeah.
As opposed to looking at the phone or the responsibility of the day or the task that we have to get done. It actually puts you in a place physically and mentally that you need to ponder, consider, meditate.
That's great, because I look at what I do in my work, and I'm in sales, and I constantly use the ashlar, the rough ashlar. It becomes perfect by working hard. Yes. And being discipline. Persistent and having discipline. And in sales, in my profession anyways, you could do very well or you could lose it all at the same time. And so again, Masonry for me in my work life has taught me, don't give up.
Yeah.
Pick up that chisel and keep striving on the perfection. Doesn't mean we have to be perfect by any means, but it just, again, is a constant reminder. And it's just a couple stones that in lodge are sitting there in open lodge, and we go, it's those little things,
There's deep meaning to that.
And that also carries into your family. Family is work, and it's not perfect. And you always have to remember, you have to give and you have to take, and you have to work on those levels of foundations and layers. Mm-hmm. And lots can be distractions and interference, but, perseverance, hard work together. Planning, having thinking. A good foundation, having some planning. Yeah. Meeting like-minded brethren and other family members of their brethren who've had similar experiences, and we can all pick each other up and grow together.
Well, that's kind of the whole point, isn't it? I mean, you think about life, going back to Egyptian times even, like, tell me there wasn't difficulty peppered in with opportunity all through history. There is today, there was 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. And
nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing changed.
Everything old is new. And so the principles that Freemasonry brings is founded on the reality of life.
Yep.
Regardless of what time period that is. And, we're almost as modern humans so arrogant to think that we know it all and we face it all and we have the hardest difficulty. But you go back through history and it's the same story over and over.
Yeah.
And what Masonry provides is a system.
Yeah.
To manage it, to be on top of it, to be with people who care, who are open and trustworthy.
Well, going back to also being the largest fraternity in the world, more hands make easier work. And so again, when you have your brethren that are there to support you in ways that are very different than you might get at home or at work, you get that little bit of encouragement or more confidence in that aspect that it just flows into your everyday life. And so again, it gives you that other layer of teaching you how to be picked up, and how, when it works for you, how you want to help your brethren be picked up. And carry forward. And just as a small example of that, speaking that it's so global, as a Freemason, as an entered apprentice or a fellow craft or a master Mason or a past master, once you become a Mason at the very first level of entered apprentice, you are welcome anywhere and everywhere within the world that there is a lodge. All you got to do is reach out, and they'll be glad to host you, to help you, to guide you if you're stuck. And again, I've gone on vacation myself.
Yeah, you've had some experience
in the
with
States,
this. Yeah.
and I've called it out. You want to really test the waters, and I've called it out, and people have been happy to run at my call and to share with me their lodge. I had a brother that I heard of in our district that was coming home from work, stuck in rush hour. Car got broken down. Happens. He had a Masonic emblem on his back tailgate, and sure enough, within 15 minutes of, I think, having a tire blown out, somebody else stopped and said, "Hey, I noticed it. I'm a brother from this district, and what can I help you with?"
Yeah.
My own daughter was on her way
back
to Quebec, and her car died halfway through. So she was three hours into the drive on a 6-hour journey. And of course, I'm way too far to help, but I reached out to my network of Masons, and almost immediately, without ever meeting these fellas before, they were happy to point us in the direction, to suggest certain tow companies that you could trust, especially when you're stuck on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I think you nailed it right there. That word trust.
Yeah.
Isn't that a hard thing to come by?
It is.
That is a hard thing to come by, and that is a great example of the benefits of Freemasonry, because you know that you can trust them, and they know they can trust you. That is something unique in the world today, in a world that's highly digitized and hardly connected.
Yeah.
So it's got so many benefits.
And that speaks to that fundamental principle: brotherly love. Relief and truth, charity. Again, like I'm so happy to have come across our Open Doors event about 4 years ago and convinced my daughter to have walked through those doors of what she thought was a church, only for me to sit there for hours before I finally popped the question and how to become a Mason. And we'll talk about that in some of the other parts of this particular series here we're working on. But it really has brought kind of a new layer of life in kind of all regard and aspect, at least for my experience. And as I get there, and I do like to travel and journey throughout the district, and I try to get out beyond that as well, I kind of hear the same stories over and over again of other real good positive experiences that other fellows have shared with us. So it's been tremendous.
I think the probably the best way to describe Freemasonry is self-improvement.
Yeah.
Self-improvement. Not improvement through others, self-improvement. Mm-hmm. That responsibility again is the topic and the way to do it.
Yeah.
Very simply.
Again, I think back to another episode that we recorded in season 1, and I think it was Brother Dennis Rawling who said it best. And it's right here on Grand Lodge, which is why I'm bringing this up. Everyone is welcome. Yes. Everyone is welcome. It doesn't matter the race, the color, or creed. It's one of the only places that I truly enjoy going to, because it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what color your skin might be, what your outside religious beliefs are or political standings. It's all left outside. And when we're inside, we don't see anything but each other. We actually see each other. We see the inward part, and we really enjoy that social time and that company. And it leads us to be able to share further experiences outside our lodge. When my brother, who I may not have the same way to learn who you are outside lodge, but in lodge, again, we've got that brotherly love, that trust. You invite me to your house. I'm glad to take that opportunity. And all of a sudden, we got different walks of life, different people, different creeds, and we're all the same.
And that goes to debunk, the common misconception of Masonry is a lot of people outside Masonry think it's, owners of Fortune 500 companies that are Freemasons, right? And it's totally, opposite of that. It is.
Well, I think, again, it goes back to, it's the whole aspect of self-improvement and being a better man. And most good, successful people, it's not just monetary. It's not just how much money you've made or how many fancy cars you might drive or how many mansions you own, but Masonry provides that improvement of life. And so often, those same guys are at the Tony Robbins seminars. Mm-hmm. Those are the little missing pieces of the puzzle that they're actually absorbing and able to implement. And Masonry gives you those pieces too. You know, I often sometimes think, I wonder if Tony Robbins, I know that we haven't officially seen it, but I wonder like if he's had that exposure to it, or, you know, is he a part of it somewhere or somehow? Because a lot of things that these wonderful leaders out there, and I'm talking those motivating self-leaders, building yourself up and moving forward, a lot of their talk points are what is within Freemasonry. You just got to pay thousands of dollars to go to a seminar for a weekend, but it's there, you know?
Yeah.
And it really comes down to, again, digesting it and having it work for you and customizing it for you.
Yeah.
The design is there.
Yeah, we certainly take a lot of flack in Freemasonry for being a secret society, for not being open or available. But I got to tell you, in my experience, working with Masons, being around Masons for the last 9 years, that's all I've seen is openness, caring, brotherly love, absolutely. But it comes back, I think, to one of the most important points is it's not for everyone, and you have to want to seek knowledge to become a Mason. It's not something that is given to you. It's not easy by design. It's supposed to be hard, and there's supposed to be a curiosity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very, very simply. And most things in life now don't follow that principle.
No.
Fast, easy is the way of life now. And Freemasonry, frankly, is quite the opposite.
Well, it's like any good investment in the world. It's the slow investment with the long, you know,
The long game.
The long game of
Long game.
investing 20, 30 years give you sometimes the best returns.
Yeah.
You might get lucky in the stock market quick in a couple years, maybe in the tech times in the 90s going into the
a little bump.
2000s. But where did that go? You know? And so it's those long-term investments that always over the course of history, financially speaking, have given you the best returns. And this is the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. When I joined Masonry again, I was told this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. You know, take your time, enjoy it, ask the questions. You just mentioned about the fact of the secret society, and again on Grand Lodge, it really just there's a highlighted point. It's not a secret society.
No.
We have our emblems.
Secrets.
We have our emblems that are on the welcome signs of almost every town that you roll into. If we were secret, would they be there?
Right.
You know, we just had doors open in Aurora. And I know that there's many other lodges throughout Ontario, and I'm sure beyond, that have doors open. I went to Savannah. There was a sign, you know, every other Saturday.
Yeah.
And I called, and I wasn't even there on a Saturday, and they were open. So, you know, it's really, I think, again, that negative press that we've gotten over years ago. That, oh, it's a secret society. Oh, it's the leaders of the world. But
It's the elite.
I haven't met any of those leaders of the world yet.
I mean, yes, there are famous Freemasons, but I think for every one famous Freemason there's probably 500,000 regular average Joe guys that are just trying to, you know, better themselves, become more active in their communities. I know I've become extremely productive since becoming a Mason. I mean, I would go home after work before being a Mason, just, you know, plop down on the couch and watch TV for the night.
Yeah.
Now, every night when I come home, I don't think I've turned on the TV twice since becoming a Mason. And that's just because, you know, there's so much to do and all that reading and memorizing ritual and you know, really bettering yourself and doing your own research and taking your time to do those things. And
that's a great perspective, Steve. I mean, being relatively new to Freemasonry, well, now at your fellow craft, of course, very much looking forward to your Master Mason degree.
If I have time to start studying, with all the other Masonic stuff going on.
To talk to worshipful Brother Wilson on the timeline on that one. But I mean, you're a great example of that, right? You've found a way to become productive and pour it on, so to speak. And by the way, to the audience, Steve Sprott is one of the most productive people I've ever met in my life. So to think that you weren't productive
from
is hard to
anybody
believe.
else. From a daily perspective, like I said, my clients don't bug me half as much as Steve. I see Burt a lot, but I don't even talk to Burt that much from all the dings that we get. Sometimes I got to turn Steve Sprott off, but no, he's been
always work to be done.
There always is. But he's been such a tremendous leader in this podcast, in You've said it before too. How much have we learned from this young
goodness.
buck here?
Well, and it's actually one of the big challenges for Masonry, right? We've had declining membership and sort of seen as a stodgy old society and that type of thing. But I would argue, certainly in Ontario and definitely in York District, we've seen a resurgence, and it's people like Steve Sprott who are bringing a new angle to Freemasonry and new energy to it and ways of working that maybe haven't been there in today's society. So we have we have a lot on our plate and a lot of great stuff going on.
Yeah, I came in about 4 years ago, and again I felt that what I was seeing at that new level and that new perspective was pretty special. But I have to say, within these last 4 years, especially this last year, the light looks pretty bright.
Absolutely.
And we seem to be from across Ontario doing a much better job of kind of again sharing what we can and getting out there, having the public understand what we do, and this is just a great platform to be able to share even more with them. I think we're gonna eventually get to the point where you got any questions, send them to our email.
Yeah.
We're already getting some feedback from some Masons and some non-Masons.
Non-Masons too, yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. Send us your questions. If you want to know things that we haven't covered, or you've always had that we don't even have to say your name or the question online.
Yeah.
We'll just be happy to look into it and get back to you privately via your email. It's not always about just sharing on here. It's really just about kind of debunking a lot of those negative aspects. But I don't see very many of them in my experience and my journey.
It's almost like you have to wonder, did we miss something?
Well, yeah. I'm waiting for the trap door.
Where's the drama?
No, it's been fantastic. And again, going back to some of the Grand Lodge stuff here, and it really is a great resource from that public eye, that if you really had those questions, not to mention the kind of summary of what we are, what we do, and how to become one, there's lots of resources that you'll be able to find on that Grand Lodge website as well. That, again, if you're still curious or you have other ways, we don't have all the answers for you, but we're certainly trying to share what we know and what we've learned. And if, like I just mentioned, if you are interested and you wanted to maybe think of joining, and it might not be somewhere close to us, we'll put you in touch with the right people. We'll send you. Grand Lodge is a great resource that you can just call them or send them an email, and they'll help you as well. So
yeah, absolutely. Put that in context. There's 550 lodges in Ontario.
Just crazy.
I mean, you'd almost have to go through the province blindfolded not to see one. So there is a lot of opportunity there. And maybe at this point we could take a break to clear the secretary's desk.
Yeah, sounds good. We're back with the secretary's desk, and we have a pretty decent lineup coming up for the first week of September. I don't have all the summonses as of yet, but we will update on the app as well as Facebook. September 3rd, Tuesday, is the first meeting back with Blackwood Lodge. They're having a regular meeting. That same night, September 3rd, again on the Tuesday, it's Roland Lodge regular meeting. Followed by September 4th, which is a Wednesday night, Malone Lodge. They're hosting a second degree. September 4th, also on the Wednesday evening, Corinthian Lodge hosting their regular meeting. Our first meeting back at the Rising Sun is Thursday, September 5th. We have a third degree planned. And then finally, with the meetings to wrap up for that first week back in September, True Blue, again, I don't have any information yet, but they will get updated as the summonses arrive.
Well, that's a pretty robust first week, huh?
It's going to keep us busy, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're back at it. So, and then of course coming up is the Rising Sun Lodge Golf Tournament, the Max Dean Memorial on Saturday, September 7th. So of course this is a tournament very near and dear to our hearts for the Max Dean Memorial, and that's going to be held at Westview Golf Club in Aurora, and registration opens at 10 a.m. Of course, it's a shotgun scramble starting at noon sharp, and the cost is $175 per golfer. It includes registration, a swag bag, gift, driving range, and entry into the putting contest, entry into the $25,000 hole-in-one, golf cart dinner, and entry for a door prize. So I believe, Gino, we still have a couple of
we have a
spaces.
few more spots. We always aim to try to do a sellout. We have a few more spots available, but if we go over that number, we'll be more than happy and able to accommodate. So no one will be turned away.
Fantastic.
Following that, Wednesday, September 11th, it's a pretty big day. It's the official reception for our new Right Worshipful Brother G. Allen Dresser, District Deputy Grand Master of York District. We're asked to join the Brethren of Richardson Lodge. The ceremony for his reception will take place at Richardson Lodge, 7 p.m. There'll be a Masonic ceremony. That'll be at their Stouffville location. And then we have a reception immediately to follow at 8 p.m. at the Stouffville Legion. It'll be a cash bar available, and you're welcome to bring your family or friends at the Legion.
Excellent. And then this next one's pretty exciting, Steve Sprott. I think this is one near and dear to your family here in Uxbridge. The Zaradatha's 150th birthday celebration on Monday, September 16th. So this is a big night, of course, for one of our lodges here in York District. And very exciting to announce that the Grand Master will be attending this evening as well. Now, I understand there's very limited number of tickets, and I believe they're probably already even sold out. But if you did want to contact Worshipful Brother Don Kemble to see if there were any tickets available to attend, I assure you that the Worshipful Brother Wilson and the Brethren of Zaradatha Lodge will be putting on an excellent event, which they always do. So I'm very much looking forward to.
We do welcome everyone to come to Lodge after dinner. The dinner is ticketed, and I believe they're sold out. But everyone's welcome to come to Lodge after. And that is free of charge, obviously.
Yeah, and a little precursor on that one. We've been able to fandangle the most worshipful to sitting down with the first three knocks. So we're really excited about that opportunity to hear from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So we'll be talking to him on the 16th.
Really
stay tuned for that episode.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. Following the 16th, we have, again, near and dear to our hearts, a very special reception for very worshipful Brother Mike Redman on his appointment to Grand Steward. That will be Tuesday, September 17th. It is an emergent meeting held at the Rising Sun. There'll be a small ceremony starting at 6:30, and then again, for Masons only, and that's out in Aurora. And immediately following the short ceremony, we'll be assembling at St. Andrews Valley Golf for Pinnacle Drive in Aurora. Friends and family are welcome to attend. And it's always going to be a fun time at any reception that we host.
Excellent. So lots going on to kick off the first few weeks of September.
It's going to be a busy first couple weeks. And welcome back. Well, again, we went over a quick experience of how we understand what Freemasonry is all about and our perspective and our experiences. And to just kind of wrap this episode up before we get into our next couple of parts to come, again, if you are interested to learn a bit more, www.grandlodge.on.ca, which is our Grand Lodge website for the province of Ontario. It's just a plethora of resources.
Oh, there's great insight there. I mean, we were using it even tonight in our discussion.
Again, we were trying to figure out exactly how to put it where it's best worded, and I mean, it's almost
like they thought about this stuff.
Right?
Isn't it?
You think so? I don't know.
I think they know what they're doing.
The whole design thing again.
Yeah.
In addition to that, again, if you want some more information, we also have an app that we've built for our friends out there, for the public. You first have to find Team App on your Google Play or your Play Store through your Android, and download Team App, create yourself an account, and search up York District Masons Friends. Again, it has a lot of resources, a lot of information about our particular district, but more importantly,
Freemasonry.
It has the Grand Lodge website attachment there. You can get a little bit more information on that. And ultimately, if you're still stuck, email us at thefirst3knocks @gmail.com.
.com.
I was like, wait, .ca.com. No, first3knocks@gmail.com. And again, we can help point you in the right direction.
We've also made it a little bit easier as well on the social media side. We have our Facebook page, which is the First Three Knocks podcast. Feel free to message us there. And most recently, we have our First Three Knocks Instagram, and that's just @the First Three Knocks. And we've had that for a couple, how long now? I guess 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe a month now.
Still fairly new.
But we've had some great attention to it, and a lot of people have found our Instagram page and messaged us saying, "Oh, I found your podcast because of the Instagram page. This is, great. I've been listening from, wherever, all over the place." And actually, one person messaged us by the name of Jason McFarlane, and he was saying he just started listening to the show and loved it, and he actually has a company called the 13th Craft, and the 13th Craft, he says, is ancient woodworking.
Oh,
and his page is really cool. I mean, I don't know the terminology. I guess it's a CMC machine that he can carve, all these different wood plaques out of and things like that. So actually, Jason got in contact with us and was kind enough to send us, let me grab it.
Oh, wait a minute. This is what he was
Brother
talking
Sprott
about.
is stepping away from the mic here for a minute. What is it? Oh, my Lord.
What?
Look at this.
Come on.
He has made us
Are you
a
kidding
First
me?
Three Knocks wooden plaque.
What?
Wow.
That's
So I just have
amazing.
to say thank you to Jason.
Thank you,
And,
Jason. That is
I'll
brilliant.
pass it around so you can see it.
That is
That is
phenomenal.
something.
I mean,
So
I know
for
we're all
our-
talk here, but you got to see this. This is amazing.
For our audience, this must be, I'm going to say, at least 2 feet wide, and it's a circular wooden representation of our logo of the First Three Knocks. This is absolutely spectacular, and you can see there's been some serious work put into
That
this.
is amazing.
So, Jason, a great big thank you to you.
Absolutely.
For sending that
Thank
in.
you so much,
And what
brother.
I'll do is I'll make maybe that the thumbnail image for this video so everyone can take a look at the excellent craftsmanship. But also we'll post it on Instagram and Facebook for everyone to see as well. But
we talked about what is Freemasonry, and here's a perfect example. We've never met this fella before. He's a brother in our fraternity, and look at this amazing piece of artwork that he sent us, that he created for us. So once again, brother, thank you so much. We are forever grateful for this token of your, I guess, your fanmanship. And we look forward to maybe reaching out and chatting with you.
Yeah,
I'm not
definitely.
sure if I mentioned, but he's from, it was sent all the way from Alberta.
Yeah,
to-
it looks
Wow.
like from
Well,
Edmonton.
hey,
according
we're
to
going to make
Edmonton,
this
yep.
a road trip, right? Eventually. So
We'll have to come visit you.
Alberta, here we come.
Gonna have to go out and check out the Edmonton Oilers and see if they have a chance to win a cup anytime soon. So a little shot to our friends out west. But Jason, this is absolutely spectacular. Really kind of you to send that in, and we will be wearing this with pride.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere we go. So thank you for that.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the First Three Knocks. Happy to meet, sorry to part, happy to meet again.